What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, here today to review this 4K Ultra HD copy of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, newly released by Universal. Before we get into talking about the movie, the picture quality, the sound, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more great physical media-based content. Also, be sure to hit that like button and comment down below if you purchased Scott Pilgrim on 4K, if you've seen Scott Pilgrim on 4K. Is it one of your favorite movies of the last decade? Let me know in that comment section below, and let's have a conversation about this new, very exciting physical media release. Let's go ahead and get into talking about this movie, because I have not seen this film since 2010, since it came out. It's been 10 years since I've seen it, so I was excited to dive back into this one. And you know, the movie is directed by Edgar Wright, who's done such incredible films like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, most recently Baby Driver. So the guy, every time this guy comes out with a movie, the buzz builds and people get excited. He's definitely got this kind of underground cult-like fan base following to him. So Edgar Wright film, this is a little bit off the beaten path for him. It's not an original idea. This is based on a graphic novel that got turned into a video game, I think around the same time that this movie came out. I actually remember playing the video game on Xbox Live Arcade when it came out. It was just a little like side-scrolling beat 'em up, but the cast in this movie, absolutely insane. Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. There's a lot of people in this movie that before they were even like super famous, they were in this movie. You got Chris Evans in this movie, so Captain America. You got Captain Marvel, Brie Larson in this movie, Anna Kendrick, Aubrey Plaza, Jason Schwartzman, like he was already kind of well known at the time. Kieran Culkin's in this movie. Like the cast in this movie is absolutely like bonkers, like when you think about it. Just tons of like future stars on like Marvel, and just, you know, Anna Kendrick went on to do Pitch Perfect. Aubrey Plaza is a big star from Parks and Rec. Michael Cera, he was pretty big at this time, coming off a Superbad, hot comedic actor at this time, coming off of Arrested Development as well, which they actually talk about in the special features, how they wanted him to play Scott Pilgrim back when he was on Arrested Development. That's how long this idea was in development, but he was too young at the time. But then by the time they got it all like off the ground, the project off the ground, and they were ready to film, he was of age, so it was kind of just worked out that way. Yeah, this movie, like I said, haven't seen it in 10 years. It's really fun. It's hyper stylized. It's action packed. It's just a really fun like adventure film with some really heavy video game influences. And yeah, I appreciated it for that, because the video game influences that it brings in are kind of my era, of my childhood, like the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo. I don't know how they got away with it, throwing in all the Zelda things and musical cues and all that stuff throughout the movie. So it's very nostalgic for me. And then there's obviously like Street Fighter references when the actual battles are taking place. This movie has a very like quirky, almost dreamlike story structure to it. You know, you're constantly like cutting from stuff that is like reality to like fantasy based, and like you never really know what's real and what's not in terms of like what's actually happening on screen, because it is kind of going back and forth. It has a real life like story structure to it, but then it like switches here in a video game, like when Scott Pilgrim's like fighting and his health is being depleted and he's like blinking red. So it's a very like unique way to make a movie and to structure a film, kind of blending that reality with like a more video game like aesthetic. And I would say this is definitely more kind of like firmly planted in the kind of silly comedic realm than the serious one. There are kind of serious moments in this, but it's all like played for almost laughs and stuff like that. It doesn't like go for the laugh like in an over-the-top kind of way, like you're busting out laughing at what's going on, but it's just very kind of like dry wit comedic sensibilities. Direction and overall editing is just like super sharp. Like Edgar Wright obviously knows how to make a great movie. Just the musical cues, just like the song choices that they bring in, they're kind of bringing in that like punk rock stuff, because Scott Pilgrim's in a band. Every time one of the fights starts, like that music kicks in. The action is really fast-paced and frantic and cool, you know, obviously blending the video game like stuff. He's got the sword in the end and he's like swiping guys down and they're bursting into coins. It's just a really cool idea, and just like visually this film just looks really good and just has a really unique, distinct voice and style to it. You know, overall I feel like over the past 10 years, like I said, I haven't returned to this since 2010. I feel like this movie gets quite a bit of hype among the film-loving community. A lot of people talk about this movie as being one of their favorites. I actually think it's kind of a generational thing. This does have a very like cult-like following that I feel like has grown quite a bit over the time. Everybody talks about this movie as being one of their favorites, so I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's a masterpiece. It is very unique and different, and I do enjoy it. For a movie, I would give it a 4 out of a 5. So a really good score, decent score for that. Let's get into something that I really love about this. That's the packaging. So I'm going to show you all the packaging. I'm going to cut to a little bit of an unboxing. I absolutely love the artwork that they decided to use on the cover for this. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Of course, I've said it before, I don't love the Universal, how big and bulky that 4K is at the top. And just their slipcovers in general have like a diagonal slant to them. When you take them out, they kind of like lean a certain way. They don't fit the case all that good. But another thing that I appreciate about this release, and of course I'm cut to an unboxing or whatever, but it has disc art, which is absolutely fantastic. It has disc art not only on the 4K, but on the Blu-ray as well. So I appreciate that, Universal. Let's go ahead and get into the 4K visuals, guys. This is a film that was shot on film on 35 millimeters. So you do get a little bit of that grain, but overall it's excellent quality. You get some really nice facial features and definition. And really like the colors when you get to the fight scenes in particular, like with the HDR, they all look fantastic. They pop, just like I imagined that they would. This is it's kind of a darker film. Like there are a lot of like scenes in the night and stuff like that. But when the fights break out, like it does pop. Like that scene where he's fighting the twins, and they have like big King Kong monster and like the two-headed dragon and they're fighting, like that looks freaking phenomenal. Or the scene at the end where he's fighting Gideon and they're like doing the coming together in the air in that red background, like all that just pops with the HDR, and the colors just look outstanding. Good black levels. And everything just looked great. Aspect ratio is 185:1. So because it was shot on film, it never feels like overly digitalized. Like I feel like there's a lot of this film that could feel like too fake, but to be honest, like it actually looks pretty practical. Just for the stuff that they do within this film, you would think that you would have they would tend to lean more towards the like CGI and stuff, but all the stuff in the action and stuff, it all looks pretty practical. It all looks pretty good. It looks pretty real. As far as the audio, guys, you do get the Dolby Atmos track in English here. So I know for Atmos fans, that is a must. And I imagine, again, I don't have the Atmos setup. I imagine this sounds fantastic. There's a lot of scenes where it's just like fast and frantic running, which I imagine that in Atmos, you can probably hear it like from behind you and in front of you. And just the way that this film is structured just in an audio sense with the music and the sound cues and stuff, I have to imagine it sounds amazing. And just from my ears, from what I heard of it on my sound bar, it sounded excellent. The mix was freaking spectacular. The music is awesome. Like everything about this movie, just sound-wise, is just pitch perfect. Lastly, guys, we'll get into the special features. You do get some new audio commentaries on this one for the cast and crew on the 4K disc itself, but that's really the only thing new that you get. Every other special feature is on the 4K disc, which I appreciate, but it's also on the Blu-ray disc as well and has been in past Blu-ray releases of Scott Pilgrim. But you do get 3 new audio commentaries with the cast and crew, so that is cool that they did include those. So at least there's something new here, and that's all I ask for really with the special features on these re-release catalog films. So at the end of the day, guys, this is only $20 right now, and I'd say that if you're a fan of Scott Pilgrim, you don't already own it on Blu-ray, this is really the best way to own this film, and I would recommend that you buy it right now. It's a good price at $20. It's a really solid release to me, so I would recommend that you buy this one right now. Excellent movie, excellent transfer, excellent audio. It's got the Atmos. It's got some additional special features. It's got incredible packaging. I know people, for steelbook collectors, you'll want to get that steelbook. It's a nice steelbook, but overall, like, I just loved the packaging on this one and the cover art. So at the end of the day, guys, buy it right now. But that is my review, guys. I appreciate you guys joining me here today. Please like, comment down below your thoughts on this film and this 4K release. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and we'll see you next time.